So we were talking yesterday about, you were mentioning yesterday about liberation being, liberation is being disassociated with things around and keep doing what needs to be done, but not get, not assign value to stuff in life and be, give too much importance, think that there is something too big to do. So generally, when one has to choose the work in his life, so students generally are advised, figure out what your passion is, think about what you're so passionate about, do some work which you don't really feel like it's a work. It's you don't think that you're doing a job. It's you will do this work even if you are not paid. So something you're passionate about. So disassociation and passion do not seem to go together. And for me, I do not see how passion and disassociation can happen together. So if I have to choose, like for example, the foundation has got a mission. The PAF has got a mission. You have a mission. Like you're running. You're doing all this for so many years with a mission. I also understand that, like from the example of the YouTube channel getting hacked, there could be things happening. You're disassociated to the extent that things won't hurt you. Like you will keep going on doing your mission. So if I have, without any passion or attachment or assigning a value, I am not able to understand how do I choose a mission for my life. How do I know what should I be doing over, like, for my life?
There are few things in this regard. One thing is choosing work under external pressure, which many people do, under the pressure of peers or situations or market forces, or choosing it by dint of just coincidence. One happened to get placed in a particular industry in the campus placement process. It happens so many times, right? One just happens to get placed and then one's career starts rolling on in that particular direction. So that is one thing that happens, where your career is being determined by so-called external situations. Then there is the other case of your career being determined by your passion. It is just marginally a superior a situation compared to the previous one. Because what we call as our inner urge towards a particular work is again something very, very conditioned. Right? It is difficult to be born in India and be passionate towards ice hockey. You'll have very few kids saying that they want to make rugby or ice hockey their career. Whereas so many kids are very passionate about cricket. So we know where passion comes from. It is not internal. Passion too comes from surroundings. But passion becomes dangerous because it presents itself as if it is something internal. Not only does it present itself as something internal, it decorates itself as something of the heart. The fellow will say, my heart beats for cricket. You must ask him, why doesn't your heart beat for ice hockey? Just because you have had no conditions favorable to ice hockey, right? You have not been conditioned towards ice hockey. You are conditioned towards cricket. Because there was cricket on the TV, there was cricket in the journals, on the radio, in the park in front of your house. Your elder brother put a cricket bat in your hand when you were just 3 years old. You are seeing all these things. And all these things were having an influence on you. The result is you didn't even get to know when you absorbed and internalized all these things and you have started saying, well, my heart beats for cricket. Were you born in Brazil, would your heart still beat for cricket? Or Russia, let's say? So passion is as much an external thing as, let's say, peer pressure. Somebody chooses his work or occupation going by market forces or peer pressure or family pressure. And then there is someone who says, I am choosing my passion for my livelihood. These two are hardly different. Even if one is better than the other, it's only marginally so. Then there is a decision that comes from the center of understanding. You realize what is valuable. You realize what is life affirmative. And you find it missing. You find that there is something that needs to be promoted, something that needs to be done. And then you do it not because you want to do it, but because you must do it. You don't do it because it is something quite attractive or remunerative. You do it because it needs to be done. There is no option. It is a call. It is a sacred duty. You cannot avoid it. And only then is the work chosen by you really appropriate. Are you getting it? These are two words that you must be very careful about. Want and must. I want to do this thing versus I must do this thing. These are dimensionally different statements. All want is conditioned. Mustness is an entirely different thing. This must be done. And in front of this, it doesn't matter what I feel, how I think, what my ideals are, what my situations and conditions are. This must be done irrespective of everything. The one who starts living, abiding in this mustness, starts living in the pinnacle of life. Now it's a different zone of existence altogether. Now you have just silently achieved all the spiritual goods. Detachment you have achieved. Renunciation you have achieved. Witnessing, yes, you are there. Dispassion, yes, you are there. Commitment, determination, surrender, yes. All of them become available to you. All the so-called spiritual goodies. They just come to you in a bunch. As if they are all shadows of mustness. Where there is mustness, there is the climate of spiritual benevolence. This mustness is classically called as dharma. Are you getting it? Doing not what you desire to do, doing that which you must do. And that is the only thing that makes all the difference in life. Are you doing something because you desire to do it, or are you doing something because you must do it? And remember, this mustness is not a thing of duty or external pressure or moral responsibility. This mustness does not come from those places. It's not about saying you must help your neighbor or you must be kind to people. No, not that kind of mustness. We aren't talking moral science here. It is a very different mustness. It comes from realization. We said it proceeds from the core of understanding. Having really understood, now a few things become totally unavoidable. Once you know you are helpless, you must do. You may even have a desire to roll back the reel and say, well, I don't know at all. Because I do not know, so I'm now free from the obligation of mustness. But now you know. And you cannot unknow what you know. That is the thing about understanding. If you really understand, then you cannot roll back the process. Once you really understand, then you don't own the understanding. The understanding owns you. And once you are owned by understanding, then obviously your own personal desires hold no value. Now the value belongs to the owner.
Know this call, like when will I be able to recognize the...
You'll have to look at yourself and the world. If everything is perfect, then there need not be anything to do. There is a stain on the wall and fire in the kitchen. Both need to be taken care of. And Shweta is asking, but both need to be taken care of. How do I decide which one needs to be first? There is a stain on the wall and there is fire in the kitchen. Everything is burning. Do you need to ask me which one holds a higher importance?
There is fire in both the rooms.
Then you figure out which room has the baby. Or you figure out which room are you trapped in. Or you figure out which room has more people. Or you figure out which room contains the gas cylinder. That is what is meant by observation. Observe the world and observe yourself. And you will know what is it that must be done. And then give up the right to unchoose what deserves to be chosen. Once you know what is right, then surrender your right to not to choose the right. If you continue to hold that right, then inevitably at some point you will use that right and unchoose the right. This is what is meant by surrender. Mustness necessarily involves surrender.
And I will choose to do it irrespective of whether I believe whether...
Yes.
And I'll choose to do it irrespective of whether I believe I'll be able to complete it or not. Because it has to be done.
Yes, it has to be done. And I may have a very clear idea that I will not succeed, but it needs to be done. It must be done. I have no option but to do it, irrespective of the situations, irrespective of the conditions, and obviously irrespective of the outcome. And it's not that I'll blindly rush into doing it. I have my resources. Now I know what needs to be done. I'll marshal my resources in the most intelligent way possible. Not that I'll blindly present myself for massacre. Not that I'll walk into a slaughterhouse. Getting it? I have intellect, I have memory, I have capability. I can analyze, I can think, I can plan. All these are gifts available to me. This is my ammunition. And I'll use all of this towards that which must be done. Hmm?
Acharya Ji. Just continuation of what she's asking. There are a lot of things which must be done. बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऐसी. अब आग यहाँ लगी है कमरे में, या आग पड़ोसी की लगी है, या आग अमेज़न के जंगल में लगी है. बहुत सारे लेवल्स हैं. कहाँ पर हम बोलें कि ये दिस मस्ट बी डन, और कहाँ पर हम बोलें कि इससे मुझे फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता.
Take into account the criticality of the situation. And you know that your job is to do something about it. And that something is not just a token contribution. It has to be something very meaningful, as effective as you can make it. Weigh in all these things and see how you must start. You know, when you are asking that there are so many things and what is it that needs to be done, I am reminded of the time when Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa to India. And he had been in South Africa at the center of a civil movement for quite a while, almost 2 decades, more than 2 decades. In between, he had kept coming to India to attend Congress sessions and to visit and these things. But there was not much depth in those visits. So finally, when he left South Africa for good and landed in India, in the middle of the second decade of the last century, Gopal Krishna Gokhale told him, no public life for you for at least 1 year. Yes, you have been an outstanding leader in South Africa. And you had victories. And you have the capability to mobilize people and rally them behind you. But no public life in India for you for at least 1 year. Just abstain. Observe, watch, travel, no. First of all, read this country. Because there are just too many things at too many places. You cannot blindly rush into anything. At the same time, you cannot wait for long, Gandhi. You are already in your 40s. You are already in your 40s and you are well equipped to do something. The kind of experience, the repository that you have cannot be allowed to go waste. It must be put in the service of the nation. But it cannot be immediately rushed. So have some kind of a sabbatical for 1 year. Gandhiji considered Gokhale his teacher. And he followed the advice. He just kept studying. He said, there are so many things happening in this vast land. From Burma till Afghanistan. From Tibet till Lanka. And then he started to get a handle on things. Then came the Champaran movement. It's not that he had consciously selected to be in Champaran. That too was a kind of an accident. But then when you are prepared, then very solemn accidents happen with you. Even accidentally, the right things can happen to you only if you are prepared. So Gandhiji knew that there was something that needs to be done, but I don't yet know what is it that needs to be done. Just like your question. There are so many things happening everywhere. It's a very vast country, it's a subcontinent. What do I put my hand into? So he was reading, he was meeting people, he was traveling extensively. He was studying the Indian landscape. And then the accident happened. Somebody from a God-forsaken village, a district in Bihar, came to him and kept shadowing him and said that such a thing is happening there and we need you to come and support us and defend our rights. The British masters are forcibly asking us to grow opium on 15% of our land, and that's exploitative. Are you getting it? If you are serious about the whole thing, what would you do? You would do what he did. You would read, you would meet, you would travel. You would observe. You would be all the time alert. You would want to find out an opportunity. And it's far easier today, you know. It's the information age. Even traveling is far easier today. At that time, to reach Champaran, you had to travel on an elephant back. That's how Gandhi reached. Today, all these things are available. You can fly to the Amazons if you want to. And you don't need to fly because all the information is available. The videos are there, the perspectives are there. What is it that you want? So your sincerity is judged by all the background work that you are doing. You cannot say you want to do good to the world. You cannot say that, for example, you are very concerned with climate change and you do not know the scientific basis for all that is happening. You cannot just rush into some activity or the other. You cannot become a social media warrior or a placard soldier without knowing the fundamentals. Don't you want to study the science first? Don't you want to know what kind of actions are best suited if you want to fight this catastrophe? And if you do not know what action is best suited to fight it, how are you taking any action? I'm asking you, with no bias against tree plantation, how do you know that planting trees is the best way to counter this menace? Do you have the numbers? Without having the numbers, why do you just want to offer a nominal service to the cause? Must you not first of all study the UN reports? And there are so many other organizations keeping a watch over the climate. Should you not take out time to go through those reports and know what the whole thing is really about? Or do you just want to be a do-gooder? A society man. It is often fashionable to do all these things. Study. And then act with total commitment and determination. If your action is founded on the basis of understanding, then your action becomes irreversible. But if your action is coming from some flimsy point then such action has no momentum. It doesn't have longevity because it doesn't have sincerity really.